So the chapter that we got in One Piece will be the last one that we get for the next 3 weeks. And it didn't give us a whole lot to theorize over these 3 weeks, but we did get a lot of conclusions. For starters, Mars continues to be the coolest design out of all the Gorosei members. And not only does it seem like each of the Gorosei members has insane haki despite the fact that, they don't seem crazy strong, but they all do seem to be conquerors as well. Which I guess should make some sense since they, are in control of the entire world government outside of Imu. But back to the beginning, and we finally see the conclusion to Zoro versus Lucci. And as you can see, Lucci got tore up. But much respect to this dude, because he did not even fall down after that last move Zoro did, and he was still ready to counterattack right afterward. But we are in a bit of a time crunch, so Jinbei just grabs Zoro, and then he just makes a distraction so that Lucci can't follow after them. So this awakened Zoan durability and endurance is kinda nutty. And then right after they leave and Lucci powers down, Mars comes down and he's like, "Rob Lucci, where is York?" Look at Lucci's expression here. Seeing this for the first time would definitely invoke that type of reaction. But you know what Mars pulling up like this and expecting you not to be afraid reminds me of? They remind me of the biblically accurate angels in heaven that look like this. And despite how terrifying they look, they descend upon you and they're like, "Be not afraid," even though, they look terrifying. Mars essentially pulled up with that exact same type of energy. But I do feel bad for Lucci because before Mars takes off with all the information that he gave him, he tells him "Hey, one more thing. My boy Kaku is injured inside the control room. Please find a way to spare him." And then this dickhead bird goes "That might not be possible. It's hard to single out one lone insect when you're trying to exterminate the entire hive." Keep in mind that Lucci really does care about these people because when he was on death's door, they were there to help him. It wasn't animated, so a lot of people probably didn't know it, but after Lucci lost to Luffy, CP0 ended up trying to get him back to full health. And in order to do so, these guys are doing odd jobs all around town so that they can build up money to pay for his hospital bills. Which ultimately worked out, so it's really nice to see that Lucci cares about his crewmates the same way that they cared about him. So if anything were to get Lucci to turn on the world government, it would be them doing anything to Kaku. But now in typical Oda fashion, since we have a timer and everything, we now get a map of where everybody is on Egghead. And look at this fun little detail right here with Sanji and Vegapunk. Vegapunk has the eyes X'd out, which is it seems morbid but funny at the same time. But now while Luffy's catching up with the giants Dory and Bragi, Warcury lets out this conqueror's haki roar that turns Luffy into shambles. And I'm not really sure if this is I'm not sure if this hurts or not, but I'm not taking it too serious. But this does hammer home the point that yes, this is Toon Force. Look at Dory looking at Luffy and all of his limbs and scars and shoes and stuff flying off, and he's like, "What is up with your body?" And then up here you even see Luffy putting his scar back on. He's holding his eye scar in his hand. And it also seems like Warcury has the ability to turn his tusk into actual swords, but Dory and Bragi are able to block that. And shortly after that, then we have Saturn shooting venom shots at these guys. But then we have Luffy trimming down a tree all the way to the shape of a bat, and then he pulls paint out of nowhere to paint it, and then he puts the number 56 on it, gives himself a baseball hat, and then he just knocks all the venom shots back. With the way that Luffy fights now, I can't see him not giving anybody a run for his money. Nobody can beat this dude easy. But after he knocks back these venom shots, they explode with these giant mushroom clouds, so clearly these are not just venom. And even though the Gorosei get hit by him, you just see them up here regenerating, and Luffy's like, "Hey, we gotta leave because they just can't die." And these guys are saying that they've never heard of a race or ability that can grant that kind of power, so I'm guessing they never heard of Law's Devil Fruit. But then again, I'd imagine most people haven't. And now we have these Vice Admirals who are trying to keep Bonnie from getting to the Elbaf ship, but we're not worried about no Vice Admirals at this stage in the game. Meanwhile, Mars pulls up on York, and I don't know what it is, but this dude has zero self-awareness. Do you understand what you look like right now? You can't just pull up as some 80-foot demonic bird and just ask somebody a question, not explaining what you are, who you are. Because instead of getting an answer, York is just freaked out it spoke. What is this thing? Get away from me. But he should have led with "Be not afraid." Maybe that would have made some difference. And when it comes to Kizaru, he just seems completely out of it at this point. Everything in this arc has to be complete torture for him. But down here we see that the giant is up and it's walking around, so maybe Luffy going into Gear 5 3 times gave it enough power to get up and start moving. Maybe Luffy's heartbeat ends up powering this thing when he's in Gear 5, so it just took 3 revs to get him going first. And he's talking about "Forgive me, Joy Boy," so now I'm really curious to see what he's about to be doing. Personally, I think he might be saying "Forgive me, Joy Boy" because he failed him in the past. I don't think he's going to do anything nefarious now. But regardless, we got 3 weeks of theories because we're not going to see the conclusion to that anytime soon.